In this episode of NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, we are going to tackle the 5 most important questions for this week's NBA Media Day 2023. Plus, we're going to break down the Jrue Holiday trade that happened this afternoon. So do me a favor, grab a pen, grab a pad. It's time to go to work. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. If you're new here and you love talking NBA basketball from a fan's perspective, we welcome you to the show. And as we said tonight, we are going to get into the 5 most important questions for this week's NBA Media Day 2023 of the 30 teams. 5 important questions that are going to come out of Media Day. And plus, if you didn't hear the news, Jrue Holiday was traded from the Portland Trail Blazers to the Boston Celtics. So we're going to break that trade down and more. So if you're watching me here live on NBA Sports Talk in the chat, give me a hashtag Team Live in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag Team Replay in the comments section. So let's get into the content tonight of this 5 important questions regarding NBA Media Day. There are 30 teams that are going to be opening up for NBA Media Day. Dallas did their Media Day on Friday, but the rest of the 29 teams are going to open up with Media Day. But I believe there are 5 important questions out of the 30 teams that have opened up for Media Day we need to tackle and more. So let's get started with this discussion. The first team for NBA Media Day that I believe everyone wants to hear from is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, as you know, this past week traded for Damian Lillard in that blockbuster trade where Milwaukee got Damian Lillard from Portland. Milwaukee sent Jrue Holiday to Portland along with a boatload of picks. Portland then also traded Jusuf Nurkic and some other pieces to the Phoenix Suns. And so the Phoenix Suns traded back DeAndre Ayton, and they end up doing a 3-way trade, as you know, and we covered that on Thursday night. And we said, of course, we knew we were going to follow up. So, of course, now after those trades, Milwaukee gets Damian Lillard. So the question then becomes for Media Day. I think one of the questions that reporters and fans are going to want to know from Giannis Antetokounmpo is he going to be willing to sign his extension? That's going to be a question that I believe that fans and Media Day and people from the press are going to want to ask Giannis. I believe a second question that they're going to want to ask Giannis is the question of, does he feel that ownership and team management has done everything possible to be able to raise the level of expectation to want to win an NBA Finals? In his opinion, based on all that they've done, from the replacing and firing Mike Budenholzer and hiring Adrian Griffin to signing Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, and now, trading Jrue Holiday to Portland, who has now moved on to Boston, which we'll get on. Does Giannis feel like Milwaukee and the ownership has done everything to be on the level that it needs for the Milwaukee Bucks to win a championship? So that's definitely a question that is going to be coming out of Milwaukee. Then another question is going to be, with the arrival of Damian Lillard from Portland, the question is going to be, is Damian Lillard going to be a person who's going to be committed, not just in word, not just and just with actions, but emotionally committed to say, hey, I am committed to now being with Milwaukee and teaming with Giannis, teaming with Lopez, teaming in Middleton and the rest of this team. Because if you remember, when Damian Lillard first put the trade request out, through his agent and through reports, he basically said that the other 29 teams he was not interested in going to. The only team he was interested in going to was the Heat. But that didn't happen. So he ended up being traded to Milwaukee. Portland got the best that they felt they could get for Lillard. And I believe they honored their commitment to Lillard and saying, we're going to put you in the best position to be on a championship team. So the Milwaukee fans and media are going to want to know, is Damian Lillard going to be happy being a Milwaukee Bucks player and teaming with Giannis? And I believe he is going to give the nod of saying, yes, this is where I'm willing to want to be. Players have their desire of wanting to be in a certain place and playing with certain players. But at the end of the day, teams have to do what's best in best interest for themselves and also for the best that they can help to do their superstar. So I believe Damian is going to do that. A third media question that is going to be important is, can this rookie coach, Adrian Griffin, with the expectations of winning an NBA championship, not just getting to the finals, but winning an NBA championship, is he going to be up to the task and making this a championship team? That's definitely going to be a third media question. And then a fourth media question is the commitment level of the Milwaukee Bucks. Is the Milwaukee Bucks, from ownership and management and each player on that roster, going to match the commitment level that Giannis feels that they need to have? He is setting the pulse. He is setting the pace for this team to be able to make it to the finals in June. And so I believe this is one of many media questions that are going to be coming out of Milwaukee this week on Monday. Another team, I believe the next important questions are going to come from is from the Philadelphia 76ers. The question of James Harden. Is he going to report to training camp? Is he going to show up on media day? If you remember, just flashback, just a few months ago, James Harden came online and through a recording basically said that he felt that he had been lied to by Daryl Morey, and he had ended up opting into his contract with his understanding that he was going to be able to get traded to the team, to the destination that he felt he was going to get traded to. Plus, he had made some concessions the year before to help PJ Tucker to get to Philadelphia. So he has went out on record and called the general manager of Daryl Morey a liar, that he has not kept his end of the bargain to James Harden. Now, yes, the NBA did their investigation and they felt that there was nothing underhanded going on in Philly. But the bottom line is James Harden going to show up? Is he still going to have the position that he doesn't want to be there as long as Daryl Morey is going to be there? Now, the truth of the matter is, in which we'll get into this point later on, James Harden is going to be completely delusional if he thinks the Philadelphia 76ers are going to move on from Daryl Morey. Because the truth of the matter is, since James Harden has been there, the Sixers have moved on from Brett Brown. They've moved on from Doc Rivers, which brings me now to my next point. They've hired Nick Nurse, a championship coach who's been able to be able to deal and handle with tough superstars like a Kawhi Leonard and others. And so with Nick Nurse having to come into this situation with James Harden and with Joel Embiid's in future, Nick Nurse has got his hands full in Philadelphia. And so those are going to be some questions that Philly fans are going to want answered on media day. The media is going to want to know, what is Joel Embiid's future with the 76ers. With the dilemma with Harden and with the dilemma with Daryl Morey, does he feel like this is a team that's going to be able to compete against Milwaukee? Does he feel that this is going to be a team that can compete with the Miami Heat? Does he feel that this is going to be a team that's going to be competing with the Boston Celtics? These are important media questions that people and fans and the media are going to want to be answered tomorrow during Media Day. And then the Miami Heat. When you look at the trade opportunities that they had a shot at, they first had the shot of the trade opportunity with Damian Lillard. They struck out on that one. They had the trade opportunity with Jrue Holiday. And Jrue Holiday now is a Boston Celtic. They struck out on that one. Fans and in the media of Miami Heat are going to want to ask the question, why has the Miami Heat struck out not on just one trade opportunity, but two trade opportunities, all within a 72-hour period? These are going to be some important questions for individuals such as Eric Spoelstra, individuals like Jimmy Butler, and if he makes himself available, Pat Riley. Two trade opportunities that the Heat has missed out on. These are some important media questions. And then another media question that's going to come from the media and fans will want to know, yes, the Miami Heat just made it to the NBA Finals and they lost to the Denver Nuggets. As much as they did all that they could, do they truly believe that this current roster, the way it is constructed of, and supposedly now they're going to get Tyler Hero back, you have Kyle Lowry back, you got Bam Adebayo, can this current roster constructed get back to the NBA Finals when you look at what they have? And losing Gabe Vincent, and I can't remember the other player that was key. This current roster has a lot of question marks. And then I believe probably one of the biggest losses that the Miami Heat has suffered as a result of this gentleman retiring last year. How will they replace the veteran leadership of Udonis Haslem? If you know anything about the Miami Heat, its culture, its mindset, and its makeup, Eric Spoelstra said when you define the Miami Heat culture and how they play and their mindset and their attitude, you could put a picture of Udonis Haslem in a book, and he would fit that culture. And now he's gone. So yes, Jimmy Butler is the leader on the court, but who is going to be the pulse, the veteran leadership when things get rocky in Miami? As we saw a couple of years ago when Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler end up going face-to-face and having words during a live game. Who's going to be the Udonis Haslem? These are media questions and more that fans are definitely going to want answered. And people are going to be watching. Can this current roster really get back to the finals? What is the next move for team management for the Heat? What's the next move for Riley? What's the next move for Spoelstra? What's the next move for ownership? These are some important questions during Media Day tomorrow that Miami Heat fans want to know. And then we got to go out west to the Golden State Warriors. One important Media Day question, and I should have tied these two together, is the contract extensions of Steve Kerr and Klay Thompson. Now, I listened to an interview with Steve Kerr, and he feels absolutely assured and fine that he believes his contract will be worked out. And so, though he's on a 1-year contract, he feels that that's not going to be a distraction, and in time, that's going to get done. But if you know any history about the Golden State Warriors, when they had these issues with Kevin Durant having a contract, him leaving the Golden State and having issues like that, this can get magnified for Golden State. You look at the situation with the Draymond Green and the Jordan Poole, this can be a distraction. But Steve Kerr says, no, this is one media day question you can assure that can be answered. And then there's the media question. Is Chris Paul, who started pretty much all his career, is he going to be willing to be a sixth man coming off the bench? And Steve Kerr's answer has been that certainly they're going to work with different lineups and experiment with different lineups during the exhibition season, where if they need to go small, maybe you take Looney out and you put Draymond at the 5 and you put Clay at the 4 and you put Curry at the 3, and you have Paul and maybe Wiggins. You put Wiggins at the 4, Draymond at the 5, and Clay at the 3, and Curry at the 2, and Paul at the 1. But no, that's not a lineup that's going to help you to be able to go against teams like Phoenix and Kevin Durant, teams like the Joker in Denver, and LeBron and AD in the Lakers. And so that's going to be a very important media day question for the Golden State Warriors. Is Chris Paul committed to coming off the bench? And then there's Steph Curry. Steph Curry, who I believe is the best NBA shooter of all time. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Is he going to be able to have an MVP season? And then also, as I said before, the contract extensions that need to be addressed between Steve Kerr and Klay Thompson. Now, Draymond has gotten his extension. Curry has gotten his extension. What about Klay Thompson? These are important media day questions that fans are going to want to be answered. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this episode where we're covering 5 important media day questions plus breaking down the blockbuster trade of Jrue Holiday, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up button. If you're watching me live here on YouTube, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live. Let's jump over to the chat. As I see, we have Washington Wizards' favorite fan, Florence Donald from Equip Institute. And she says he's a pro and he wants to be on a winning team. That means he will have to give his best and be on a winning team. So I'm assuming you are probably talking about Chris Paul, I believe. And yes, everywhere Chris Paul has went, from the trade of him being traded from the Clippers to the Rockets, from the Rockets to the Oklahoma City Thunder, to the Thunder to the Phoenix Suns, he has definitely been a winning player, knowing how to win on every team. He has been the consummate pro. He has. But this is the first time he's going to be challenged with the question, is he willing to come off the bench? Because he has to realize that his health has been an issue these last couple of years. He has to realize he's coming to a team that are filled with established superstars that have a winning culture and that know how to win a championship. And so that's going to be a major question for Chris Paul. Will he be able to answer it? Will he be willing to commit to it? I believe he will, but time will tell. Time will tell. Hey, we're talking about 5 important questions that will be asked during the NBA Media Day 2023. Plus, we're breaking down the Jrue Holiday trade that happened this afternoon. So do me a favor. Let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live. If you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag Team Replay. All right, so let's go to our next team. The Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics. Media day for the Boston Celtics. Oh my gosh. Is really, truly going to be a must watch media day for the Boston Celtics. You have just over a couple hours ago, Jrue Holiday being traded from Portland with Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon and them sending a ton of picks to Portland. Jrue now is going to be in a lineup of himself, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, who we'll get into in a minute, and you have Al Horford. And Boston has this established bench that has been solid over the last couple of years. They unfortunately lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Miami Heat under the first-time coach Will Hardy. But this team, after this trade of getting Jrue Holiday, whereas Milwaukee may have been the favorite just in the last 72 hours, Boston has clearly positioned himself as being the number one team favorite to win the NBA championship, especially with the pickup of Jrue Holiday. And you add the trade for Porzingis, who had one of his best seasons being healthy in Washington. And now he comes to a Boston Celtics team that has Tatum and Brown, probably one of the best dual tandem teams in the NBA. Boston, with this trade, has truly positioned themselves to be only in one place, and that is the NBA Finals in June. And that's going to be the questions that are going to be coming out of Boston, especially with this whirlwind with Jrue leaving from Milwaukee. And initially before he got traded, and he said he wanted to be a Milwaukee Bucks for life, but understanding that there were circumstances out of his control, and now going from Portland back now to Boston, man, he is in a big, big place. Hey, let me know your thoughts. Is you just joining me watching NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III? Let me know in your chat where you're watching me from, and let me know your thoughts about the Boston Celtics with the trade of Jrue Holiday, with Porzingis being traded from Washington. And you also have to look at in terms of, the departure of Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was a key component to the culture and the defensive toughness for the Boston Celtics. And now to replace that with Jrue Holiday, that's a major, major upgrade. Yes, Marcus Smart was a six-man winner of the year. He was also a defensive player of the year. But Jrue Holiday is an NBA champion. He is an Olympic gold medalist. And he is probably one of the best two-way players at that guard position. The Boston Celtics have gotten a major, major upgrade. All right. And so the question of the day, which media day will impress you as a fan that you want to be able to hear from? Is it going to be the Milwaukee Bucks? Is it going to be the Los Angeles Lakers, who I did not mention tonight in this discussion? You have LeBron and AD. Is that a media day if you're a Laker fan? Or is it, as I said before, the Boston Celtics? So let us know in the chat or the comment section, and we will definitely look forward to NBA Media Day. So now let's get into this Jrue Holiday trade. Jrue Holiday gets traded from Portland to now the Celtics. And as I said before, the Celtics, just in 72 hours, have positioned themselves, in my opinion, to be the number one seed coming out of the Eastern Conference. Because they've been in the Eastern Conference for the last 3 years. They were in the NBA Finals just a couple of years ago, and they lost to the Golden State Warriors. But they have retooled and positioned themselves so that they can now put themselves in the position of being in the finals in June. When you look at the toughness of Holiday, you look at Jaylen Brown, who just recently got his contract extension, and you have Jason Tatum, and you put the addition of Kristaps Porzingis, and you have the veteran leadership of Al Horford. These are some major additions compared to the loss of players that Boston had lost. They lost, as we said, Marcus Smart. They lost Grant Williams, and now they lose Robert Williams. But when you look at in terms of what they got back in return, Boston has definitely positioned themselves to be the favorites. Now you say, well, is this team put together well enough from top to bottom, from the starters to the bench, from coaching? Is this team positioned and able to take down the defending champs of Denver? I believe they are. I believe they are. Because Holiday will definitely be able to match what Murray will bring to the table. I believe with a committee, Boston is going to have to deal with a committee of dealing with the Joker. So Porzingis, Horford, and any other bigs that they sign, it's going to be a committee to be able to take the Joker and Aaron Gordon down. And then you have some other players that Denver has. But I believe one key component that I've yet to be convinced that Denver has placed, and that is Bruce Brown, who left and went to the Indiana Pacers. I have yet to see Denver make a quality move that can replace his NBA toughness and defensive mindedness that helped Denver win the championship last year. And so I have to give the edge right now. If we were doing an early prediction between Boston and Denver, I would have to give the edge to Boston. This trade has swung the momentum in Boston's favor. Milwaukee, in my opinion, would be a 2 seed, and Miami, just for the sake of winning their division and their record, would be a 3 seed. But you have to give the edge to Boston. This has been a whirlwind of NBA excitement over the last 72 hours, from the Damian Lillard blockbuster trade to now the Jrue Holiday. And if you were watching on Thursday, I told you these trades have been like the equalizer with Denzel Washington. Damian Lillard's trade was equalizer 1. Jrue Holiday was equalizer 2. The equalizer 3 will be what will happen with with Brogdon in Portland. Some believe that Portland will make a move and trade the 6th man of the year to the Clippers and get young players and draft picks back, because clearly Portland is positioning themselves to be a lottery team. And so that will be your equalizer 3, of seeing 3 major trades over the last 5 days. And again, you have to take into account in terms of people passing medicals and things like that. But once all of that has been done and pen has went to paper, Brogdon will end up being to the Clippers more likely. And then everything will be complete. Portland will have gotten what they've wanted with being able to move Lillard to a contending team and them getting back what they were looking to get to put themselves in the best position. Phoenix has basically gotten what they needed to get, and moving on from Aiken, getting Nurkic and some additional roster spots. And Milwaukee's got Lillard. The Celtics, though, have got Holiday. And the question on media day for Miami is, you missed 2 trade opportunities. You missed out on Lillard, and you missed out on Holiday. What's your thoughts tonight here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, let me know in the replay or the comment section. Give me a thumbs up by clicking that like button. Share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you haven't subscribed to the new NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel because we talk NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective because your voice, your opinion matters here on NBA Sports Talk. And so as we bring this train into the station, question of the day for you, my NBA fan, my fellow NBA fan, which team, which media day is important to you, and what questions are you looking to be asked? Let's keep the conversation going on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. We will be talking to you soon. This week coming up, we won't have our NBA Sports Talk on Thursday, so we will be letting you know on what date we'll be having it on. So I'm looking at possibly Tuesday, and then I'm looking to do possibly a Saturday and our Sunday because things are picking up in the NBA. Yes, NFL football is going on, but things are picking up in the NBA. And NBA Sports Talk wants to be the place where your voice is heard and your opinion matters here on Sports Talk. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.